Republicans are looking ahead to President-elect Trump's return to the White House now that they control both the House and the Senate. Joining us now with a look at the Trump agenda, House Majority Whip, Congressman Tom Emmer. And we can get, Congressman, right into like specifics, or we can just talk about the sort of the general likelihood that it's a different type of caucus now with President Trump, President-elect Trump, sort of presiding over the Republican Party. Do you expect less? I don't know, what would you call the last 2 years? I don't know what you call that, because the margin could even be less than it was. Is there going to be trouble to get anything done again?
Well, good to be with you this morning, Joe. It's always going to have people running into each other. They have disagreements. They have to work through differences. But we showed that you can do amazing things with just 220, 221 members. Many times over the summer, we had even less than that. So it can get done. And like you point out at the outset, big change is coming. Donald J. Trump is going to be in the White House, and that's going to be very helpful.
What does that mean for like budget talks and, you know, all that drama that we kick the can down the road almost every time? Will we have a budget?
Yeah, well, you're going to. You're going to have a budget right away next year. As soon as we swear in the next Congress, the goal would be to have one done. I believe our chairman, Jody Arrington, is shooting to have the first one done in sometime in January so they can move on reconciliation. Shortly after that, after the Senate acts. And then there's another shot at reconciliation later next year. In fact, Joe, you could do 3 reconciliation bills next year. I think that's unlikely, but you'll probably see one right away out of the gate, which means you have to pass a budget right away.
What's the mood for having Mike Johnson sort of be able to take a little breath about his chances for being a longtime speaker? Is that going to happen?
Mike is fine. Mike is right now negotiating the end-of-the-year deal. He'll be reelected speaker on January 3rd, and we're going to be getting to work on day one.
And the tax cuts extended? What about the salt caps? Do you have any idea what's the prevailing wisdom for what's going to happen?
We don't know yet what the ultimate language is going to be on specific issues, but the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, those policies are going to be extended, Joe. If you look at what would happen, neither Republicans nor Democrats nor any American wants to see a $4 to $5 trillion tax increase on all Americans. And that's what would happen if you let these expire. So look for the Trump administration, the Republican House and the Republican Senate to enact those as permanent policies so we don't have this whipsaw effect every 4 to 8 years, and businesses in this country can literally have some certainty and some clarity as to what the future looks like. It's only going to help explode our economic growth, Joe.
You've been a legislator for a while. What will Elon Musk and Ramaswamy and Doge, what is possible and what isn't possible, and we'll need some help from you and your friends?
Well, I think first off, Donald Trump was elected with a mandate from the American people. They want to see change. And this place has been broken for a long time. You know, you talked about not doing a budget. There hasn't been a normal budget process, I would argue, for 30 years. We keep kicking the can down the road, Republicans and Democrats. And this president has made a point that that's going to change. Now, he can do a lot on his own, but he's also going to need legislative work done as well. And when you talk about Elon and Vivek, Joe, you can't fix what's broken with people who were on the inside that have some responsibility for breaking it. You got to bring people from the outside with fresh new ideas, which I think you're seeing not just with the idea of Doge, but you're seeing it with all of Trump's cabinet picks. And it's actually a rather exciting time in America, and I think Americans are really looking forward to what's to come.
I saw conflicting articles, actually, about different things. One said that a lot of CEOs have gone in to try to get the president-elect maybe to, I don't know, some carve-outs. Obviously, everybody's in for their own self-interest on the tariffs I'm talking about, and they're getting nowhere, supposedly, on the tariffs. But then I saw that some of the president's people are worried he might be wavering on some of the tougher issues with I don't know, deportation, immigration, and exactly, how far he keeps, how far he goes on some of his campaign promises there. Is that what you're seeing, too, that the tariffs are given, but there's some wiggle room with how much we do on immigration?
Look, unlike the Biden-Harris administration, Donald J. Trump is going to put America first again. And when he talks about tariffs, Joe, he is a master negotiator. Tariffs are a common sense policy tool that he can use in those negotiations. And he's that way with every issue on the table. And I'm confident of this. Donald Trump made promises on the campaign trail. We've seen him do that before, and he keeps his promises. So buckle in and get ready for a fun ride.